This is one I wrote, one I love, where every week I will read a poem that I wrote and a poem that I love, because there are loads of them. And this week I am going to read a couple of poems about friendship, because my new book is full of poems about friendship. It's quite soppy. It's still full of moaning because I think there's quite a lot to complain about. But yeah, there's a lot of soppiness as well. So this is for any of your friends. I wrote a lot of poems about friends and realised I'd written a lot about my girlfriends. So it just made me think of my school days and how lovely a lot of the boys were that I was friends with, and also how they really helped a lot, often with other boys and men, but just how supportive they were and how much I liked having boy friends, as in boy friends, separate word. So this is for them, and it's called A Belated Thank You to My Boyfriends. I'll start again. To the boys who stopped the other boys for us, shook their frightened fists, puffed up fearful teenage chests to fend off other boys and men for us. To the boys who called the other boys pricks for us, who scorned their friends who pressured us, pretended to be with us to ward off shame and strangers. To the boys who stood around us like salt circles in nightclubs and moonlit streets, their just pubescent muscles forging warnings best they could to keep the older men away. The older men who, quiet in the corners, offered more expensive drinks and confidence, and us, excited by the savings and the power our naked legs now seemingly possessed. Freebies and flirting. God, how good it feels to feel attractive. Until lights now up, those older men, suddenly less friendly, come collect on their investment. To the boys who stood in front of us then, unjudging, portcullis of unpractised punches, and in winter, when we were dressed as if the frosted Newbury High Street were a burning summer beachfront, to the boys who lent us jackets, when clothes we hadn't worn to show our bodies to a world which kept telling us we ought to, began to freeze our bones. And having danced until our high heels bled, to the boys who picked us up, gave us piggybacks, saved souls from broken bottles or shattered glass, who walked us safely to our homes, then away, less safely, to their own, or who, crashing in our beds or on our sofas or our floors, slept beside us, and in the morning, apologising over breakfast for the trouble, to the boys who, stuffing toast into their gobs, told us it was fine, as if it was. So yeah, that is a belated thank you to my boy friends, who, some of whom got in a lot of shit situations to protect us, and who, just aside from that, were often just very lovely people. So I'd like to read a poem now that I love from this Michael Pedersen, who is one of my favourite men in the world. But this is from the Cat Prince and Other Poems, which is a brilliant collection and mainly centres around male friendship. So this is called The Cat Prince and Other Poems, but this is called Boys Holding Hands, and it's just, I guess I held hands with a lot of my girlfriends when I was growing up, and when I've heard him read this, he always says how he was quite jealous of female friendships, or his mum's and his sister's friendships. It was much more physical in a loving way than the kind of friendships that boys were allowed to have. And you have to imagine this read in like a sort of deep Scottish accent, not my more squeaky, just outside Reading accent. Boys holding hands become men holding hands, because learning to dance starts haptic in here. A rumple of pinkies, the trill of palms, another skin blossoms beyond its sleeve, another fist unpeels to fingers as bud unhooks its petals. The antithesis of the hand, for we are best friends. Slow sun's gauche promise, hold me, as language drifts through the throat of the wrist. I just read that again because it's quite short, and sometimes I need to read poems 5 times before I get everything in them, and I'm not sure if I pronounce the word gauche right. So yeah, I'll just read that again for anyone that wants to hear it again. It's called Boys Holding Hands. Boys holding hands become men holding hands, because learning to dance starts haptic in here. A rumple of pinkies, the trill of palms, another skin blossoms beyond its sleeve, another fist unpeels to fingers as bud unhooks its petals, the antithesis of the hand, for we are best friends. slow sun's gauche promise, hold me as language drifts through the throat of the wrist. Oh, lovely. So yeah, that was one I wrote from Lobster, belated thank you to my boyfriends, and one I love from Michael Pedersen's The Cat Prince, which is called Boys Holding Hands. So have a lovely week, have a lovely sleep, and I will see you next week. Bye.